important. We are going to get into that as we continue with this conversation. My guest in studio is Sianto. Thank you so much for joining us here on set. And she's a life coach, I believe.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, exactly. So she's the right person to have this conversation with, and exactly how you can build your self-confidence. You're going to have this conversation for the next 1 hour. So don't go too far, or rather just stick there so that you can actually get a thing or two from this conversation. And by the end of the day, I hope if you're struggling with matters confidence, you'll have built your confidence, or learned a thing or two on how to go through the process of building that, right?
Yes,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Now, Sianto, people who are watching this particular show would like to understand exactly who you are and what you do. Let's start from there first.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Sianto Kekayaya, and I love God. I love people. I practice to be more kind, more generous, and just be compassionate, and also just strive to have an impact on humanity. Yes.
You say more tolerant?
Compassionate.
More compassionate.
Yes, I'm more compassionate. That is who I am. In regards to what I do, I help individuals who feel like, they're not good enough in who they are and in what they do, to gain confidence, and that will give them power to become their best selves so that they can create their best future or their best life.
Now that is very important, because at this particular time and in this season and probably this generation, a lot of people are struggling with that, having self-confidence, believing that they can do it, always looking for people to gas them up. But at the end of the day, if you don't believe it you believe it yourself to some extent, even when people tell you you're good, it might not actually, help you feel good about yourself, because at the end of the day, it is you that needs to actually start believing it. Let's start from why it is important to have this conversation on self-confidence. From there you said.
Yes. So now it is important to understand what self-confidence is, because if you can actually, just from the name, it is self. It is about you. It is how you feel about yourself. So actually you can look at it from two perspectives, from the self-esteem part, which is the feeling of confidence, and also from the self-efficacy part, which is the part of being able to do something. Like, for example, being able to do your job. Like for you nowadays, you are here, being able to conduct this interview very well. So that is what you call self-efficacy. So self-confidence, it is when you look at both self-esteem and self-efficacy. Now, most of us, we look at self-esteem most of the time, which is how you love yourself. Do you matter? Do you feel like you matter? Do you feel that you're valuable? Yeah. And we forget the other part of your abilities, because you can really feel like I'm valuable, I'm worthy, but are you competent enough? Do you believe that you have the abilities to do what you're supposed to do? So for you to be able to get that holistic, confidence within yourself, you have to work on both sides, the self-esteem and the self-efficacy.
So self-efficacy and self-esteem have to go hand in hand. You can't just have one alone.
Absolutely.
And I think we focus more on self-esteem, just like you put it.
We do. And it's because it's not like we don't want to work on it. It's just that we are not aware that confidence involves those two aspects. So you find that people really just work on self-esteem and they leave the other part, such that you find yourself, you ask yourself, but I've worked on my self-esteem. I feel worthy. Why is it that when I'm told to do a certain particular task, I feel like I'm not able, I feel like my confidence is a bit low? It's because we have not worked on that other aspect.
Now, the more you speak, I think you're addressing me. Are you addressing me? Because it is one thing to be very confident and say my self-esteem is, I have enough self-esteem. I believe I can do it. But the moment somebody trusts you to do it, and that's, you start doubting yourself. You're like, can I really actually make it? Can I ace it? Will I ace it? And things like that. You start having self-doubt again. And yet, when it comes to self-esteem, you're like, my esteem is high. I believe I can. But when you get to that, you don't believe in your ability anymore. Why do we have that kind of disconnect?
Absolutely. No, that one is just very clear, because the self-awareness is low. People who have high self-awareness, they know that when it comes to confidence, I need to feel valuable. I need to be able to feel that I can carry on this task competently. So we are talking about your self-awareness. Are you aware of who you are? How are your levels? So there's a check that you have to do as an individual for you to be able to know that you have to balance how you feel and your capabilities.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the self-esteem and how when we look at ourselves and say, by the way, I don't feel like I have issues with esteem, because that's a conversation people do have.
Yes.
You look at somebody and say, probably they have esteem issues.
Yes.
What are we looking at and saying, Sianto or Amuai or Mary somewhere, they have an issue with self-esteem?
Yes. Now, the manifestations of low self-esteem, they're very common. And even for me, sometimes I go through them. As much as I'm a confidence coach, it's a normal part of being a human being. Okay. So you'll find that you fear expressing yourself. Like, for example, if you've been called to go and do a presentation, like now here, you'll feel like, you know, I'm not worthy, I'm not able to do that. You start getting worried, you start getting anxious, your heart starts pumping, you start shaking, and you know.
And even have
all that.
The stomach probably.
Yes, all
You're very
that.
restless and things like that.
Yes, and even in meetings, you find that you have a very good opinion, but because you know yourself that once you start speaking, those they're called physiological responses. They start coming up. You start shaking. Even some people, they lose words. They can't talk anymore. Yeah. Yes.
I understand that, because I'm trying to relate, because I have had those particular experiences where I know I have the content, but the moment I step on that particular stage to now talk about it, there's anxiety all over.
Oh,
you are shaking, your hands are shaking, you feel like probably you're sick, you want to throw up and things like that.
Yes.
So those are some of the things you look at and say, by the way, I have an issue here.
Yes. So there's that one. And also there's an issue of feeling timid, whereby you shrink to let other people shine. That one now we call you're being a people pleaser. You know your potential, but because you want other people to love you, you know sometimes when you are a competition, people really will not love you. Okay. So what you do, you shrink your potential and you let another person shine so that you are branded as this good person. Wow. So I'm pleasing you, I'm pleasing my colleagues. Yeah.
Is it a bad thing?
Oh, yes, because look at it this way. You're with your colleagues, for example, in a meeting and the bosses are there. You have a very good point, but you don't want to say it. You shrink, you keep quiet. Another colleague of yours raises the same point, and the bosses, when it comes to promotion, who is going to be promoted? Them. Yes. So you lose out on your promotions.
Wow. Okay, now this is the thing also. You could have, probably you are in a situation where when it comes to speaking up, you can't do it, probably in a meeting. Then you give your colleague that particular point. Then they raise it on your behalf, but don't give you credit. And when it comes to credit, you know, going to the person that has said probably it was a good point and things like that, it goes to them. What happens to you? Why would you trust people like that? And you know, no,
that should not actually happen. Why should you give your idea to someone else to speak on your behalf? And you can be able to do that. So there's that you become timid, you shrink so that other people shine, and also there's this issue of procrastination. Yeah, so for example, you have a project that you're supposed to work on. Because you don't believe that, you know, you're able to do, your project is off standard, instead of just, you know, being able to know that I've reached to a point where it's ready to go to maybe to your boss or for people to be able to see it, you sit on it, deadlines, they pass, you're still with it. And of course, now you're branded as that person who doesn't.
Is it a non-starter?
Yes. So you just keep on putting your work on the shelf.
We have so much things that a list of things that we need to do, but we have kept it somewhere because we probably don't want to explore it. Yes. And also there's this point where you look like, you feel like if I go through with this one, then people start comparing me with so-and-so. Yes. And if there's that comparison, mine might actually, say, oh, probably alikopi huku, ama si mzuri kama ya nani. What happens to that? Because I think a lot of people also deal with that. Yeah, actually that is an issue of comparison. Yeah, and sometimes it's not bad because if you're comparing maybe yourself from someone who is ahead of you in terms of experience, it is good because now you're modeling good skills. Okay. Yeah, but if for you feel that your work is not of standard when you compare yourself with someone else, and then you keep it
you don't take it to the world to see, then we are saying your self-confidence or your self-esteem is really holding you from coming out and showing people what you have. Yeah. So what I normally tell my clients is that you start, build. If it's your business, you start. If it's work, do the project until when you've reached a point whereby at least you know that there's value in it. Don't keep on staying with it. Don't keep on refining it. Just push it out. Push it out, because people will always talk, yeah, whether it's good or bad. So what if you push it out that it's something good and it has an impact on someone?
That belief of actually it could, because why do we have that fear that, you know, like you say, it could have, people will always talk.
Yeah.
It could have a positive impact, people will love it, but also the doubt that it might go out there and people might not love it, and, you know, it comes back to me in terms of in a negative way. I don't want to do that.
I know. So that is a fear of judgment, and it is very normal as a human being to really protect yourself from such kind of judgments, because you want to hold yourself as this dignified person. So you don't want, maybe at the moment you're excelling, you're doing well at work, and you know, you are receiving a lot of accolades. But now there's this project, when you push it out, it receives negative judgment or criticism. So whatever when you had placed yourself on this level, and whatever you push out maybe takes you a bit down, then people don't want those kind of changes. So you tell yourself, instead of me trying something new, let me just continue doing what I'm doing, because it's already okay and I'm good. People have already... If
it's not bad, then don't change it.
Don't change it. Yeah, but you see, now you're not stepping to what you call a growth zone, which is experience when you're trying something new. Yeah. So if you don't allow yourself to try new things, then you're missing out. Like for example, for me, I would have maybe decided not to come here because it's the first thing. But I'm a coach. I understand that the moment you're called to do something new, you're being pushed to a growth zone. So you take advantage and you go for it. Yeah.
Let me talk about being too cautious, because we are, in most cases, we are very cautious. Just like you say, it's something new, you don't want to do it. All this caution, should we to some extent just say, enough with the caution, let me try the murky waters, put my foot down, you know, to see how deep this is, and then when it comes back to you probably in a negative way, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, first of all, we need to understand that as caution means it's good to be cautious, but also caution means you want to have your life to be certain. And one of the need of a human being is that we need life to be uncertain. Sometimes you just have to go for these things and you find out, okay, what is going to happen? Because can you imagine if you stop yourself because you're being cautious and you're limiting yourself so much, and what would have propelled you to the next level? Like for example, there's this story of Michael Jordan. When he started basketball, he was not really good, but he did not stop. He was not cautious. He continued practicing, he continued exposing himself until he became one of course, the best basketballer we had of our time. So yes, there's caution, but don't let it limit yourself. Just push out. I want people to push out. Go and try new things. Yeah, because really sometimes it depends. You see, when you've started maybe a particular career and another opportunity has come on your way, but they're not related. Because if you have a fixed mind, you'll tell yourself, no, I can't do this because I'm so used to this. But human beings, we have a potential, a big potential, even to step into something and we become successful and competent at it. Yeah.
Let's talk now at dealing with the issue of self-esteem. If now you've identified and say, this is exactly, when I look at this, probably I'm being timid. I'm very, very careful about trying new projects and expressing myself. I'm dealing with the issues of self-esteem. Now I want to start, to boost my self-esteem and be confident and all that. What do I do?
First of all, how do you build your self-esteem? It starts with self-awareness. You really have to know who you are. And most of us, we define ourselves by what we do, what we have, And even we define ourselves around our family. So we take it as our identity. But that's not really who you are. Who you are is everything apart from all those titles. Everything about you, Brian, minus this job.
Okay.
Everything about me minus my job as a life coach. So you have to tap into our virtues. Are you a kind person?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so that's totally away from what I do.
Yes.
But what I do most of the time describe who I am. Am I using the wrong description to actually say this is Brian Amwai?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not who you are. That's what you do. Who you are is the virtues. Like, are you a kind person? Or even, can you become more kind? Are you a generous person? Are you a person who has, you know, you always want to have a positive impact towards people? Because those things, they can never be taken away from you. So you'll have that stable kind of confidence or self-esteem, because those are things that are internal. Those are things that you can grow with. Even if you don't have money, you can still be kind.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you don't have a job, you can still be kind. Even if you don't have a spouse, you can still be kind.
Okay.
So we need to identify ourselves from that perspective. I'm talking from a personal experience, because there's a time I lost my job. I didn't have even a business to run, because even it closed down. So I was left with Sianto. Who is this Sianto without these big titles? I used to work in the banking industry, senior titles. I used to have a business, it closed down. So when they were taken away from me, I had to look around, who is Sianto? What can I do with her? So that's when now I started this journey of really finding who am I without anything attached to me. And once you tap into that, you get total holistic confidence and self-esteem within you that nobody can take it away. Yeah. So that is the first way of doing it. Yeah.
Who is Brian Amwai?
Yes. Who
That's
are
a question
you?
I'm supposed to be asking myself and coming. Take me through the process of doing that and just trying to identify who I am away from everything that I do. Because personally, I speak from me as a person, and I believe quite a number of people could actually relate. What defines us is what we do. When somebody asks you, who are you?
Yeah.
My name is Brian Amwai. I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
I love reading. But the issue, what you are pointing out that is away from what we do, we don't use that to describe who we are.
Yeah. And that's why when I started, I said, I love God, I love people. I want to be more kind, I want to be more compassionate. So that's what defines who someone is, your virtues. So it's just about being positive, having a positive impact towards people. And then that is now the first way of working towards attaining self-confidence, self-awareness, who you are.
Yeah.
The second part is self-acceptance. So you've identified this is who Brian is. So you have to accept yourself just the way you are right now, as your current self. Maybe I'm not very kind now, but I can work towards
Being kind.
being kind. That's how we build it. So you first accept where you are, the levels that you are. There are tools that we normally take our clients through so that you discover the process. Yeah. So you say, okay, I'm not really very compassionate, but I can start.
So these are things I can change.
Absolutely, you can change.
So you are aware of the things that you're not.
Yes.
You've accepted that.
Yes.
But now you're moving towards making a difference and just changing that. If you are not kind, then you can actually be kind.
Yes.
And this is exactly what I want to do.
Yes.
Right.
And sometimes people say, if you say that I accept myself, you don't have any window for growth. No, we are saying, before even you can grow, you first have to know where you are, so that you can be able to say, I reach there. So how do I reach there? That ideal self. Say, okay, I can practice doing A, B, C, D. Yeah, maybe instead of being arrogant to someone, I'll start being a bit kind.
Yeah.
You see? So you measure yourself where you are now and where you want to be, and then you work towards that.
Important.
That is self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance. All right, now we want to take a short break here on the program. Don't go too far. We are coming back with this conversation on self-confidence. We just talked about, self-esteem and boosting that, how to identify that you actually have low self-esteem. When we come back, we'll be finishing up on that and also touching on self-efficacy. I'll be telling you more about that when we come back. Don't go too far. Engage us on our socials. At Amoy Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use this morning is the morning drift.
Yeah. It's
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about to pressure the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni hapa kazi tu.
Welcome, you're watching The CEO. On this show, where we invite masters, captains of industry.
It's all about working in teams. Customers are happy, it's a good month, the markets are good. I mean, those are very exciting moments.
Ladies and gentlemen who tell us where and how to find money and put money in our pockets and how to go about doing business in the best possible way.
For me, I'm not serving myself, I'm serving community.
Thank you, my co-chair. Also peruse a little bit the document given by our nominee, and our secretary confirmed too that is as said by the nominee. So I think the nominee under you is fit to proceed, and you remember our nominee, you are under the oath. So anything you are going to tell this committee should be the truth, but nothing but the truth. You know Kenyans are watching. Kenyans are so eager to know who this nominee is. And we all ask members also to do decorum. And we are going also to give you good time to respond to the question raised by members. So I'm going to straight to our question. So Mr. Kome, kindly and tell these members and Kenyans who you are in terms of yourself, your family, your education background, the employment, and any other information that you think is necessary for Kenyans to know, considering, you know, the sensitivity and the importance of the position you are being vetted for.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Co-Chair. Thank you, honorable members of the Parliament. I wish to start by thanking God for giving me this opportunity to appear before you. Secondly, is to thank His Excellency the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Honorable Dr. William Samuel Ruto, CGH, for nominating me to appear before you to be vetted for the position of the National the Police Service of Kenya Inspector General position. Chair, I would like to state that fellow officers are very excited about this nomination because one of their own who joined the service as a constable is now being vetted to be the Inspector General of the National Police. The constable in Mandera, and now you can dream one day of becoming an Inspector General. A constable in Oyugis, he can dream one day of leading National Police Service. Therefore, on behalf of all the fellow officers at all corners of this country, we thank His Excellency, the President, most sincerely for this nomination. It is a morale booster to the constables out there protecting our country. That reason is to thank this House, both houses, Senate and the National Assembly, for accepting to listen to me and prove that they have the capacity